Well, good Wednesday morning. I hope you are all doing well and your week is off to a great start. You're halfway through. We've been talking a little bit this week about questions. Why questions, how questions, just questions in general, and how those questions bring us understanding. Yesterday I asked you the question, why do you believe in Jesus? And maybe you had a very clear cut answer and you knew that right away. Maybe it took you a little while to think of it. Maybe you're still trying to fully understand why you believe in Jesus. Today, I have another question for you, and it's a how question. And it seems very straightforward, or it seemed very straightforward to me. And then the more I got into it got a little confusing. And then there came clarity as I thought about it more and as I read about it more. And that question to you is, how do you pray? How do you pray? I always thought that when you pray, it was pretty simple and straightforward, right? I mean, you pray when you get up in the morning, pray when you go to bed at night, pray when things are good, pray when things are bad. Tell God how great He is and how thankful you are for all your things. You need things, ask God for it, right? That's prayer. But the problem with that, when we start looking at prayer in that manner, is that it almost turns God into kind of like a good luck charm, doesn't it? It almost, like we're supposed to pray and then magically all these things are supposed to happen. And I think sometimes even the most faithful, the most religious people kind of get that confused and kind of look at it like that. And I don't think that's always what prayer's about. In fact, the disciples had been praying for years and years and years and had been praying prayers that their parents had taught them and things like this. And then they saw Jesus praying and they realized that, maybe they were doing it wrong. And so finally, Jesus lets them ask the question for themselves. But finally, they asked the question for themselves. They said, Jesus, will you teach us how to pray? I mean, how do you do this? How do you pray? Because watching you pray, obviously, we're doing something a little different here. So we want to know how you pray. And in Matthew chapter 6, he answers them. And I find it very fascinating what he said. And this is what kind of made me have to pause and reevaluate how I pray. He says this, and it's chapter 6, and it starts with verse 6. It says, "But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen." Go into your room, close the door. Don't be around people. "Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you." He's going to reward us for what's done in secret. Some of the greatest, most religious people I know have prayed these big, huge, long, elaborate prayers, and they're loud prayers, and they're powerful prayers. And here's Jesus saying, go to your room and do it by yourself. Do it alone where nobody sees. And when you pray, do not keep on babbling like the pagans. Don't keep babbling like the pagans. I like that. For they think they will be heard because of their many words. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask Him. And then he goes on with the Lord's Prayer. Don't babble like the pagans. Don't use all these many words. I find that fascinating because for so long in my life, I've felt like the more eloquent the prayer was, the longer the prayer was, the deeper the prayer was, the more God was listening. And if I simply said, thanks God for today, that he just brushed it under the rug. When really what Jesus is telling us right here is that God already knows what we're praying for. He's already got it. He understands what we need. He knows what we need. So don't use these big, huge, elaborate prayers. A simple acknowledgement of who he is, a simple thank you for everything you've done, a simple help us get through this day, help us to forgive other people, and we will hopefully have them forgive us. Let them forgive us like we've forgiven them. That's a touchy one too. So how do you pray? Are they big, huge, elaborate prayers? Or are they more subtle? Is this new to you, or is this something that you've known for a long time? For me, I learned a lot when I was reading this in Matthew that our prayers don't have to be so wordy. We don't have to babble so much, do we? We can keep it short, sweet, and to the point. And I think that's what Jesus is looking for sometimes. I think that's what God is saying is, I know what you want, so you don't have to go crazy, but spend that time with me. And don't do it out in public for the recognition. You get your recognition out in public, then that's your reward of life, right? That's what he said. I hope you have a great Wednesday. I hope you spend time in prayer today and every day. And I look forward to being with you tomorrow. I got another question for you. Have a great day.